effect on your supply chain management. So today we will discuss that the topic is impact of supply chain management on sales. So if you directly go to the supply chain management process, that directly impact on sale both positively and negatively. I will show some case study how the positiveness and negativeness will be effect on supply chain processes. If the supply chain process is far enough removed from the sales and process, the impact is not usually perceived unless the impact is negatives. In that case, I will give the best example in case of your Nestle Maggi noodles. That case study I will show in the upcoming slide. If you go to the next point, in distribution, the supply chain process is closely related to sales process, and the impact is perhaps most quantifiable in the industry as it involves your purchase or procuring items for resales. So as you know, in case of supply chain management, it's a integrated activity starting from supplier, then supplier to inbound logistic, then inbound logistic to your operation, then operation to your outbound logistic, and outbound logistic to distribution, and distribution to the suppliers, distribution to the consumers. In that case, the most things should be affected in case of sales and marketing cases whenever, as you know, the supply chain management directly involved for speedy delivery. For example, in that case, if you are not providing the speedy delivery, most of the customer are get irritated. So that is why, in that case, the volume of sales should be decreased. If you go to the next point, in case of impact of supply chain on sales, it is easy to see how the supply chain can positively impact by sales by negotiating pricing, which allow the distributor to sell for less than its competitors. In that case, the best example is if you take the case studies of Supreme pipes versus your Astral pipe. In that case, if you choose in case of quantity or in case of more amount of incentive or discount, Supreme will provide approximately 35 to 45% of discount. So apart from those things, Astral pipe never provide any kind of incentive or discount in their particular product. The reason is that whenever you purchase a bulk amount of material, in that case, the most important thing is negotiating price. Whenever you purchase bulk amount of material, in the case of Supreme pipe, in that case, they will provide a huge amount of discount. But there are maybe some company like Astral or Horiplus, they never provide any kind of discount. So that is why, in case of sales ratio in a particular region, if you take the best example in the region of eastern part of Odisha, here the most sales volume is increased versus Supreme and your Astral pipe. The Supreme perform better sales as compared to Astral because they are providing bulk amount of discounts. So that's directly impact on supply chain. So due to higher amount of demand in case of sales, they directly flexible their supply chain management, and that directly provide a positive impact on sales. I think all of you understand. Then go to the next point. The supply chain can also work to keep sufficient inventories, especially when demand for a hot product exceed when the exceed the supply in the market, whether the market is regional, national, or international. The next third point is an effective supply chain is definitely a component in building a reputation for quality, on time delivery, leading the additional opportunity for sales. But whenever you concentrate on agri industries, in that case, the Astral pipe perform very well in case of sales due to its quality of product and timely deliver. So that is why the sales must impact on supply chain. Whenever the sales is on higher side, a greater amount of demand will be arise, and that demand should be provided flexible supply chain management. So if your supply chain management is not flexible or simple or smooth, in that case, you cannot be maximize your sale. That is the concept behind it. Then we'll switch to the next slide. The next point is Impact of supply chain management on cost. So in that case, as you know, the most of the value in the form of cost would be added for convert the complex supply chain into a flexible supply chain to fulfill the, or you can say that is the maintain a particular balance in between demand and supply. Arise in that case of supply chain flexibilities. In that case, so if you go to the first point, to practice effective and cost efficient logistic management, as I told in the previous class, the most of the dairy industries maintain milk run strategy for collecting of raw milk from different sources to the processing unit. So during that cost efficient logistic, they can maximize the profit through minimization of operating expenses cost in case of supply chain management. So whenever you concentrate on particular point number one, the practice effective or cost efficient logistic management, an organization must lay the foundation for a responsive and economical transport network. I will provide a particular case study regarding livestock supply logistic activities from Andhra Pradesh to your Assam. In that case, they are generally use some strategies. So whenever you directly go to the point number two, with a responsive and economical transport network, an organization is able to implement major strategic change to reduce the cost and increase the customer service level with very little disruption to the overall supply chain management. In that case, I will show the particular case study. As I told, in that case, most of the livestock of fish or seafood should be transported from place like Andhra Pradesh to Assam within 24 hours. That is the strategy of economical transportation network. So due to that thing, they can increase the percentage of potential customer and the level of customer delights will be increased. In that case, they made a particular strategy. What the strategy I will show in the next slide. The strategy is that if you go to the 10 years back or 15 years back, generally the dead fish should be transportation or just dead fish should be transported from different place to the source to the different destinations. But nowadays, due to rapid demand in case of seafood or sea market, they made a particular strategy, or you can say that is the customized the logistic activities in the case of carrier, in case of transportations. In the picture you have seen that livestock of fish should be put inside a water container, and that container should be transported from one place to other place. The thing is that due to minimize the cost of supply chain, or you can say that the cost of logistic activities, they directly provide some consignment. The consignment should be carried by a particular transport company or a third party logistic companies, and they are responsible to provide 24-hour logistic operation, providing the livestock of fish from one place to other place. The next part is that if you go to the next, that is your third point. In that case, if you go to the point number 3, in fact, the supply chain managers who is outpacing their competition have done so largely by acknowledging transportation as ready vehicle through which to drive cost saving and create value within the supply chains. So in the first class, I have already discussed regarding the operational activities of Amul, where the logistic manager are specially employed your GPS network for tracking the vehicles in different route and optimize the route in different locations. And through that implementation of GPS technology, they can easily track the movement of vehicle from one place to other place. And another thing is they also monitoring, or you can say that is tracking the different movement of vehicle driver as well as the co-pilot who are drive that particular carrier from one place to other place. That should be easily tracked by the supply chain manager. And due to that things, they can maintain a flexible supply chain within that distribution network. And due to the flexibility of your supply chain management, it is easily accepted by the customers. And due to easily acceptance of customers, they provide a particular brand value to that kind of companies. The next part is that The next point is that how to reduce the supply chain transportation logistic cost. So as you know, transportation cost can be a significant part of company overall logistics spending. With increase in price of fuel, the transportation proportional allocation to transportation can be upward of 15%. Clear? And go to the point number 2, the cost is passed on the customer and price of good continue to rise. In that case, I will give the next example. In case of onion supply from Maharashtra, especially in the case of Vidarbha or in the case of Nasik belt, they are the largest producer of onion across Asia, and they can maintain, or you can say that is they can balance the demand and supply across the India. So due to that demand, fulfill the demand of number of states like your Odisha, like Andhra Pradesh, even Telangana, and some part of Gujarat and northeast areas, they use they directly involve the transportation cost, and due to that transportation cost, the price will be little bit rise. But the thing is that how they maintain their logistic cost or reduce their logistic cost, that is the most important things. So there are a number of transportation strategy that can be used by the management to help to reduce the cost of transportation logistics. In that case, the first point is fewer carriers, and the second point is consolidating shipment, and the third one is single sourcings. So switch to the next slide. In case of fewer carriers, the transportation manager should adopt same strategy when it comes to the number of carrier used. Clear? In that case, transport managers spend time finding the best carrier at the best price, but sometimes that leads to large number of carrier being used, able to give excellent service. And the last point, by offering vendor a larger volume of work, the carrier should be able to offer lower rate across all routes. In that case, I can say that it is the duty of transportation manager. They should adopt the fewer carriers who can frequently used by a single route or a optimized route by offering vendor a large volume of work. That is why Tata Group has assigned so many. You can say that is you can say in case of Steel Authority of India, you can say that is Tata Group. In case of Aditya Birla Group, they have assigned number of transport companies. They are frequently offering larger volume of work in the form of providing number of carriers able to lower the cost of logistics through the routes. Then the next one is consolidating shipment. So in case of consolidating shipment means the transportation manager will be moved away from the less than truckload shipment to truckload shipment. I will show some case study related to consolidated shipment, how the truckload shipments convert into a truckload shipment. That means less than truckload shipment is converted into truckload shipment. In that case, suppose you are thinking of, in case of cargo industry, in the figure at the top, in the current figure, if you see in the top, a particular cargo container is provided in case of sea logistic activities, and there is number of cartoons are there. It is easy to transfer the whole container from one place to other place rather than if you go to the one by one. So that is the particular case study related to your shipment. So in the next part of your figure, you see the shipment route is individuals, and under that individuals, number of manufacturer and distribution center are there. Suppose in that case, the less workload, that is 20 lbs and 10 lbs, is directly provided to a two number of trucks, and the transportation cost is 1050, and other transportation cost is 500, and they have to maintain two number of destination, that is XYZ company and ABC company. But in case of consolidated shipping in multi-stop routings, the all less truck load should be combined in a particular cargo or in container, and that container is shipped by a single truck to a number of destinations, that is XYZ company and ABC company. Then again go to the point number 3. On that one strategy, one strategy that can be used by the transportation manager is to consolidate shipping so that fewer trips are made and company reap the benefit of lower rates based on larger shipment. So that is another method to reduce the logistic cost. Then the third one is your single sourcings. In that case, by offering all transportation out to bid via request quotations, that is known as RFQ, a company can provide carrier with a detailed explanation so what it required and which may fall outside of what is normally provided by a common carrier. So here the figure directly shows it. So the
Sir,
best,
sir, sir, sir,
yes, yes.
sir, sorry for interrupting. Sir, previous slide, sir. Consolidated shipping.
Okay, okay. This one.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is, sir,
Hmm.
in case of fast transportation, there is a
Yes.
that there are two carriers
Ah,
taking products to two companies. But
yeah.
in consolidated shipping, there is one carrier taking products to two companies. But sir,
Ah,
in case of fast shipment, there are
hmm,
more, their product will be more. But sir, in
hmm.
case of the consolidated shipping, their products will be less. If the product will be more, then how can we manage consolidated shipping?
No, no, you are not getting my point. Actually, that above figure in case of cargo, that means there are multi products are there. And
Yes, sir.
in case of consolidate shipping, you have to convert the less truck weight into a truckload. Sorry, less truckload convert the less truckload to truckload. Clear. So here, just below that cargo container, the image shows that the weight should be given. That is 20 lbs, and suppose that is 20,000 ton and 10,000 ton, and that are individually shipped to two different number of destinations. But in case of consolidated shipping, or you can say that is consolidated transportation activities, all the 20 ton and 10 ton is combined, and that should be directly shipped by only one vehicle. That vehicle should be properly, the vehicle provide proper route optimization to two different destinations. That is the concept. Clear?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then switch to single sourcings. In that case, okay, in case of single sourcings, here the best example of Sager Transport Private Limited. Have you already seen that particular multi-axle truck which are daily passed in our day-to-day life through the Cuttack and Bhubaneswar? Around 500 to 1,000 number of trucks should be passed. But the thing is that transportation company take the quotation of Tata Steels for providing logistic operations in case of starting from Jamshedpur plant to Vizag port. Clear. In that case, they just eliminate other transportation company, and the Tata Group is assigned only one company since 2 to 3 decades. And due to that thinking, they can you can say that it reduce the cost of logistics through the different mode of transportations. The next point is if the winning bidders fulfill the need of company. That is why the Sager already winning the bidding in case of Tata Steels, and they fulfill the need of company that has fully evaluated, and the company could gain the significant transport benefits saving using single carriers. I hope all of you understand this particular concept. Clear?
No, sir. Can you
Yes, sir.
explain again?
Okay. Then apart from those things, just a minute. There is some technical error is there. Just a minute. Okay, going to the next one. So this is the typical case studies of, you can say, I will put a small case study in case of direct selling. We have already discussed in the previous class. So in case of direct selling, in case of Dale case study should be considered. So in case of direct selling, there are some strategy you discuss in case of reduce the cost of transportations. So in that case, Dell direct selling is a strategy which is implemented by the Dell companies. Nowadays, they have considered some strategy, and that strategy are include. The first one is new value chains. If you go to the first point, the Dell has no in-house stock of finished good inventory, unlike other competitor using traditional value chain models. So in case of value chain model, these are divided into vertical or horizontal value chain models are there. But next strategy is pool mechanisms. It did not have to wait for a reseller to clear out their own inventory before it pushed the new model into marketplace, typically operate within 60 to 70 days stock. And the next strategy is that the customer got satisfaction of having their computers customized to their particular likings. So what are the success Dell has combined? That is, the first one is direct sales, inventory management. The next is supplier integration is there. And what are the limitation? The limitation of direct sale model, emerging market, in case of emerging market, that are buying habit of customers, not access to internet, lack of online payment, that is credit cards. So these are the different limitations which is directly make a barrier in between the direct sale methods. Then next is if you analyze the Dell competitive advantage in case of direct sale to reduce the cost of logistic activities. If you see in the picture how Dell trimmed the cost and delivery times. So if you show the most PC maker, they made a particular distribution network starting from the factory to the distributor, then distributor to reseller, the reseller to consumers. But in case of Dell, they just customize the whole things to reduce the cost and delivery time. In that case, from the factory to direct consumers. So if you go to the point number one, Dell is able to sustain a competitive advantage over competitor in the computer industry because of an extra efficient supply chain and distribution systems. Due to that extremely efficient supply chain and distribution systems, they can maximize their sales. The next part is that and also reduce the cost of logistics. If you go to the point number two, Dell is able to achieve superior profit in the industry because they are a knowledgeable user of information, communication, e-commerce, e-business, internet, and web technology. So due to that impact on customers, first thing is the brand value of this particular product. The next is they are a knowledgeable user in case of your IT sector. You can say the information and communications sector as well as the web technologies. That is why they can reduce the cost of logistics as well as the cost of your. The next part is that supply chain success story. So if you see the traditional supply chain, that is in case of HP versus your Dell, from factory to your assemble center, then number of distribution center, distribution to outlet and the consumers. But in case of Dell supply chain, from factory to Dell, then Dell to through wave, it should be reached up to the customers. So here the success story of Dell in case of on April 2001, Dell topped compact as the world's largest PC maker. In case of the market share was 12.8% as opposed in compact market share, that is 12.1%. And compact and HP could not get into price war with the Dell because of Dell profit margin was 80%. In that case, the next point is the compact and HP profit margin were a single digit. The next part is that going to the next slide. The next is the impact of supply chain management, profit and profitabilities. So in case of a business that runs strongly and efficient supply chain tend to generate more revenue. In case of just a minute, more revenue and higher profit. In order to increase profitability through supply chain management, you can look at several different areas, including inventory management, that is finding the balance between too much and not enough stock. That means whenever you maintain a adequate stock or suitable stock, there is no holding expenses should be added and no holding cost should be added. The next is supply and pay agreement, that is automating process such as order placement. That nowadays most of the supply chain industry or transport or logistic industry adopt automating processes for example, for example, receiving of order, payment methods, and they should provide also you can say that is barcode for transaction of cases, and you can say that is transaction of money from forward as well as backward process. The next is control of operating expenses, preventing incorrect order, distribution errors. So these are the few examples in case of control of operating expenses. So as I told in the previous case study, you can the first class we have already discussed about how to minimize the transportation cost and preventing error. As I told, in case of Amul has already implemented a GPS. In case of truck, they have to directly monitoring, tracking the vehicle as well as the driver activities, and find if they find any kind of difficulties, that should be directly provide some suitable solution by the logistic managers. And due to that things, you can minimize the operating cost. The next part is that the settlement of payment, that example is solving late payment, in invoice missing payment. This should be included in case of settlement of payment. So most of the supply chain industry are directly negotiating with the third party logistic activities, and before engage this particular third party logistics, they should know about their company reputations, their company past histories. You can say that they should provide a historical analogy on the analogy for settlement of payment. Even if invoice is missing, in that case they will settle all the things regarding repayment, or you can say that is solving late payment also. The next, going to the next slide. So in case of next one is supply chain management profit and loss account. We'll discuss the above profit and profitability with a suitable case study in the upcoming slide. So in case of a traditional account, that is profit and loss statement gather together all the sales side income and expenditure under sales and administration headings. The supply chain side expenditure is grouped under the general heading of cost of goods sold. So in that case, if you take the example of agri product, which is directly shipped from one state to other state. For example, we have already discussed regarding onion transportation from the place like Nasik to Odisha. In that case, so if you take the in case of pricing strategy of onion, due to transportation cost, okay, the price will be increased according to the number of destinations. So that is why the company should be keep the cost minimization and the loss account during flexible supply chain management. The next part is that whenever you switch on the next one is the impact of supply chain management and profitability account. The next point, how they can supply the managers, how then can supply manager make saving visible to the executives? One way is to take advantage of three separate opportunity supply chain management has for creating savings. So during contract negotiations, the most of the things should be clearly provided by the company to the logistic activities. The next part is that when working with a business unit, you have to know the historical background of that particular business unit. Then whenever any kind of problem, error, and disruption is occur, in that case, the both side can be resolving all kind of problem related to their supply chain flexibility. So due to those things, you can maintain the profitability as well the loss accounts. The next slide is that in case of customer account profitability supply chain management, suppose a supply chain, in a supply chain, as you know, the supply chain is a group of activities which directly integrate all kind of activities, starting from the source of origin of raw material to the distribution of goods, and finally it should be reached up to the end users. In that case, any supply chain is only as strong as its weakest links. As you know, in supply chain, you have to, a company can move a product from China to United States clear through the customer and move it to a distribution center and fulfill its record times. So that is why if you take the best example of Jara, they can easily deliver any product anywhere in the world within 48 hours. So due to that strategy, they can maximize their customer accounts profitability. And as far as concerned with the Jara company, they never go for any kind of advertisement. And the next part is that they are technically enhanced to increase the potential customer, and that directly impact on customer account profitability through supply chain management. The next point is that, but if it does not deliver the product to the consumer quickly enough, they are not happy. So whenever you deliver a particular product to the number of destination where customer is not happy, in that case, the complete supply chain will be failed. In that case, what will happen? That directly impact on the brand value of company, the reputation of companies. That is why the company like Flipkart, they make simple of, or you can say that they simplify their supply chain that anybody can easily understand. And whenever you involve in case of forward as well as backward supply chain management, that should be easily, and you can say that is easily acceptable by any level of customers. So due to that thing, the company reputation as well the company value will be increased. The next, I will show the particular case studies why the customer account profitability in case of supply chain is considered. Here the best example, that is the best example of Nestle Maggi. So as you know, in case of Maggi, the company hide the percentage of lead contaminant in case of Maggi. So as you know, in case of lead is a very toxic material. Whenever you consume 30 years, it should be directly involved with your DNA, and that should be shifted to your next generations. So due to that thing, more amount of medical disorder will be arise. So a particular person has filed a PIL against Nestle, and that is displayed in the newspaper. And the person belong to Ahmedabad, that your bowl of instant noodle is not healthy as ad claims. So most of the time you say that due to its quick make dishes. In case of Maggi, that contain the company hide the contaminant of lead, and then, as you know, in case of they never gain a certification from your Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. So as you know, in case of natural justice principle, they Maggi or your Nestle would just violated the principle of natural justice. So apart from those things, the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India directly provide a particular so-called notice to Nestle, nor it was given proper hearing. In High Court says the principle of natural justice is violated. The testing lab neither recognize or nor authorize or recognize. The Food Safety and Standard Authority of India has not established lead content was beyond the permissible limits. So due to that thing, I'm just quickly gone through those things because we have to complete the today's content. So these are the compensate through the customer account profitability. Whenever a customer file a case against Nestle, the total, if you see the figure, in case of total damage claimed by the number of customers across the world, that is 63996 crore to be deposited in the consumer welfare fund. And in the next point, 18% interest on the amount till actual payment is made. If you calculate those things, that is 10% of 2000 Maggi noodle sales, and that is 284.55 crore, and 30% of 2040 profit from Maggi noodles, and that is sale is 355 crore.41 crores. So if you go to the ground reality of that particular complaint, the Nestle sold hazardous and defective goods. After this particular PL, the Maggi received and accept that their product contain lead. The false representation of its product sold Maggi masala oats with product approval. Another thing they hide in case of Nestle Maggi, that Maggi masala oats, they just hide inside the packets. And this misleading the advertisement targeting children and mother who are more vulnerable to unsafe and hazardous and substandard foods. And the next part is misleading consumers about presence of MSG. The next is sold defective goods with the presence of lead. This is the most important thing because whenever you consume 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, it directly involved with your DNA, or you can say the contaminant of lead should be get involved in your DNA, and that should be shifted to your next generation. Due to those hazardous things, those sold unsafe good hazardous to life and safety. And due to those things, the Nestle Maggi provide a creative ad, and that should be displayed in the year 2015. The creative for the print advertisement launched in the year 2015. To addressing the growing public outrage, the campaign ran across the print and television and digital with a bold statement that Maggi is safe. And the next case study is that how the customer account profitability is considered. In that case, the next company is here Johnson and Johnson's. Clear. So due to that carcinogens, it is a primary element for causing cancer or skin cancer, which is contained in case of Johnson and Johnson's. So due to that thing, Johnson and Johnson forced to tell consumer their product is cause cancers. And apart from those things, that is 70 million court case. 70 million court case is pending. They are put the PL against Johnson & Johnson. And finally, Johnson & Johnson agree that to save money, Johnson & Johnson have been ignoring for decades the evidence of talcum powder in their product, including baby powder, and which cause cancer due to carcinogens present inside the talcum powder, which cause skin cancer. The company hide for few decades, and they never told about those things, including because it's a baby product. They never told their customers. So due to that things, what will happen if you go to the next slide? Next slide. Around Johnson and Johnson company will pay 32,000 crore rupees for penalties. So these are the cases which directly impede on customer account profitability in supply chain. So just imagine how they manage their supply chain management in case of reverse supply chain, and how they manage their sales as well as profit and loss account. So these are the two cases which directly reflect how the cost, the sales, and the customer account profitability will impact on supply chain management. So in this regard, I just tell the things is that, so whenever you put the best thing in the market, that should be easily acceptable by the customer. The most important thing is that your supply chain should be so much simple, that should not be complex, and that is easily understood by the customer as well as to increase the volume of sale, reduce the cost or operational expense, and reduce the impact of customer account profitability in case of supply chain management. Then the next topic is the centralized and decentralized supply chain. So when we think about the distribution network through the supply chain management, the most important thing is centralized and decentralized supply chain. So in case of if you choose the centralized supply chain, the centralized supply chain process are those to be managed from a remote location, can be serve multiple sites and drive synergy by serving multiple sites. Clear? In that case, I will give the example of Flipkart. So whenever you ask your seniors, in case of centralized distribution supply chain of Flipkart, in case of Odisha, they have established their distribution hub or mother distribution hub near Salepur area. And due to that centralized location, they can be cover around 100-kilometer radius for the distribution of their multiple product to the number of destinations. And the next point is that they provide less duplication of resources and provide efficient and effectiveness by managing key process centrally. So that is why whenever you ask any delivery executive of Flipkart, that that mother distribution hub is well and efficiently and effectively provide the processes centrally to different locations. So whenever you directly go to the distribution network of Flipkart in case of Odisha, this mother hub in case of Salepur, these are well connected by the national highway and sub-national highway. The next part is that it is well connected away from, it is well connected it is established due the cost of land is very much less as compared to the twin cities like Cuttack and Bhubaneswar. The next part is that if you take some example of centralized supply chain that can be managed centrally as soon as that is sales inventory operation planning facilitations. So nowadays, most of the company like your Tata Motors, even in case of Jyoti Motors, in case of your Mahindra and Mahindra, they are implementing the same facilitations or facilities in case of sales inventory and operating plannings. Why? Because they make the assemble center in a central location where they can easily operate all kind of process plannings, even if distribution and delivery of product, even if sales after service would be efficiently and effectively managed. The next part is that in case of centralized supply chain, the most important thing is forecasting the demand. Okay, so as you know, the forecasting of demand that is calculated on monthly basis or weekly basis, depending upon the companies and company product. It is vary from company to company and company to company policies also. The third point is supplier replacement plannings. In that case, the most important thing is in case of replacement planning, they directly employed the aggregate production planning. So as you know, in case of planning, supplier planning or forecast related planning, the planning should be divided into three types. That is short-term planning, long-term, aggregate, or that is known as intermediate planning. So according to that supplier replacement plannings, a particular master production schedule or that is master schedule which is developed. Then according to that master production schedule, as you know, in case of master production schedule, the inventory status file, the bill of materials, and the master schedule, that is the blueprint of the production planning, or you can say that is supplier planning, should be involved. So according to that planning, day-to-day operations should be proceed for different type of destination as well as the locations. The next part is the process design and deployment. So whenever you think about process designs, you have to involve highly skilled people, the high technology. The next part is the man, machine, material, and quality of material should be deployment. Then council leadership. This is the biggest, most important part. Whenever you go to any kind of warehouse or centralized distribution center, a particular person is lead of the whole operation team, and they should provide educate training as well as the council provided to the number of subordinates. The next part is logistic management. So as you saw that the particular centralized distribution or centralized supply chain management, the most important thing is logistic operation. It is in case of remote area, for example, in that case it is difficult to you have to choose the particular site which is well connected by road as well as well connected with railways. That is where some organization, if you take the best example in case of Jajpur industrial belt or your Angul industrial belt, in that case most of the distribution centers are placed near the railway track as well as the national highways. The last is item maintenance. So why item maintenance? There are some machine and equipments are used in case of centralized supply chains. For example, in case of loading, unloading vehicles, even if for conveyor are employed for loading and unloading activities. And then next one is your forklift or small vehicles are employed for loading, unloading, loading and unloading activities. So that is why more amount of maintenance is required. So as you know, the maintenance is subsequently divided. That is day-to-day maintenance, then weekly maintenance, then monthly maintenance, and yearly shutdown should be provided to efficient and effective work of that particular machine employed for logistic and you can say it is supply chain, distribution, loading and unloading activities. The next part is that if you compare those things, if you directly go to the figure, The figures.
Can you please repeat the master schedule again?
Okay, okay. In case of master, try to understand. In case of master production schedules, it is nothing but a blueprint of your day-to-day activities. Suppose you are working in a organizations and you are perform operational activities for producing good quality of product. Clear? And your your production is constant. For example, 100. Suppose demand is arise around 1000 or infinity number of product. So according to that demand, you have to directly go for master schedules or master production plan. So in case of master production plan, three things should be included. The first one is inventory status file, which is the inventory status file contain all type of inventory and their exact status. What is the availability of that particular inventory? The next part is bill of material. What is the requirement of different kind of material during the production operation process? So whenever you merge inventory status file, bill of material, they directly form master production schedule of your planning. The same thing happen in case of supply chain replacement planning. Clear? The next part is that I think you have to understand the question. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next one is that. Just a minute. Just. The next one is if you directly go to the next slide, here the figure of centralized and decentralized distributions. So we have already discussed about centralized distribution, that is remotely operated supply chain network to different number of destinations. Same thing happen in case of ITC also. So if you go to the FMCG product in case of ITC, this particular supply chain is operated to the number of distribution centers. Especially in case of making of flavored juice, place like Nasik and Bidar area. In that case, the most of the processing unit are centrally operated and they are well connected by a road as well as railway connectivities. The next one is the decentralized. That is, these are interlinked supply chain management. In that case, if you go to the decentralized supply chain process can be defined a process that must be performed in the plant because they involve physical interaction with the materials. The best example is, you can take the best example in case of decentralized supply chain, your process industry. For example, in case of sugar or chemical process industry like cement industries, in that thing, what will happen? The process starting from sugar cane to boiling, then boiling into fermentation, then fermentation into convert the semi-fluid of molasses to the fine grain of sugar. So these are the fixed process and these are well interlinked, or you can say that it well involved in the physical interaction with the raw materials. The next part is that their process are one, they were decision making localized. So that is why only one person, you can say that the top level management should be provide the decision making regarding the process. You can never convert or customize the process. The process remains fixed. Best example is your cement industries, where the fly ash, your you can say that is fly ash, the binders, you can say that is the limestones and sand. These are the basic raw material basically used in case of cement industries. But whenever you process, the next process is mix up the all raw materials. The next process is chemical treatment of raw material, that is chemical treatment of your limestones, the sand and ash, which convert into a quality of cement. The next process is packagings, and last one is it is directly shipped towards the outbound storage to number of distribution hub and distribution hub to number of customer or customer outlets. In that regard, some example of decentralized supply chain process that can be managed centrally, that is receiving and shipping. So best example is your food receiving and shipping. In case of food process industries, most of the raw material are shifted from one process to other process. In that case, the first step directly shift to the next step, and the second step is receiving the raw material and process to the next step. The next example is your assemble center. That is applicable to your automotive industry where assembly work is performed. In that case, the process are well connected. If you take the example of car making or automotive or truck making or bus making, initially the raw material should be welded and that should be directly go to the assemble center where more number of sub-component are attached along with engines. Then it should be directly sent to your painting shop, then painting shop to the final testing and quality shop. So these processes are sequentially arranged in assemble lines. The next part is their manufacturing process. So you can say in case of any kind of manufacturing unit or any kind of organization, best example you can say in case of your steel organization or steel plant or steel production unit. In that case, starting from the raw material, then it is well connected to number of steel making process, then steel making process to conversion process, and conversion process to final steel is you can get the final product. The each and every process are sequentially arranged so that they should be involved physical interaction whenever they shipped or received the raw materials. The next one is material transactions. The next most important thing is 5S visuals. So nowadays, most of the companies are, you can say that is called profitability, directly convert their company into making more profitability. So due to making more profit, they should implement 5S visual, that is sort, set in order, sign, then standardize and sustains. So due to these 5S visuals, most of the company are adopt ISO policies. For example, in case of ISO 9000 for productivity and ISO 14000 for environment, ISO 22000 for food and safety, ISO 18000 for that is your health and occupational safety of employees. The next part is the plant for every parts. The plant should be provide any kind of component and sub-component for each and every part. That is why if you take the industrial belt of Jamshedpur area, particularly Jamshedpur area, in case of Tata Steel, this Tata Steel and Telco are surrounded with number of companies, sub-company or sub-assemble companies. That means whenever raw material or sub-component or finishing product is required, in that case, they can be easily collected those sub-components from different companies. The next important part is health and safety aspect. This is the most important part. That is why nowadays most of the company are adopting the ISO 18000 policy for occupational health and safety of their employees. Then apart from those things, audit and control process is there. So due to audit process, you have to know the exact expenditure involved in that process. In case of centralized supply chain, that should be reflected to the audit and control, and that should be implemented to control the excess cost or a more amount of overheaded cost that should be easily reduced. Last is trade management. Trade management is directly include in case of sales and manufacturing. The most important thing, they are also applicable to your procurement of raw material or purchase of raw material also. So you have to find the number of supplier, number of vendor, number of service provider who are directly or indirectly involved in case of decentralized of supply chain management. The next part is that the next part, the centralized the supply chain versus your decentralized supply chains. So whenever you first go to the centralized supply chain, the centralized supply chains are those that can be managed from remote locations, can serve multiple sites, and drive strategy by serving multiple sites. But in case of decentralized supply chain, process can be defined that must be performed in the plant because they are involved physical interaction with the materials. Point number 2, the systematic and consistent reservation of authorities, that is totally controlled by a top level of management. But in case of decentralized, that is systematic dispersal of authorities. That means what? The decision making should be provided to the top level to the bottom level, sorry, middle level, then middle level to the bottom levels. The next one is communication flow is vertical. Here communication flow is open and free. Next point is decision making is slow in case of centralized supply chain, and in case of decentralized supply chain, that is comparatively faster as compared to centralized supply chain. The next point is proper coordination and leadership, that is sharing of burden and responsibilities in case of decentralized centralized supply chains. Next point, power of decision making is lie within the top level management, as I told in case of systematic and constitute a reservation of authority. But in case of centralized supply chain, multiple persons have power of decision making. The next point is it is best suited for small size organizations. As I told, in case of uh, the small size organization, the best example of food industry in the process industries. But in case of decentralized, it is best suited for large size organization like steel plant, aluminum organization, cement industries, and automotive industry also. And the last point is, in case of centralized supply chain, implemented when adequate control over the organizations. So if you have the adequate control over the organization, that you can apply the centralized supply chain management. Then in case of decentralized supply chain, considerable control over the organizations. That means that it is a little bit volatile in case of controlling and providing the decision, because the systematic dispersal of authorities due to systematic dispersal of authorities. So these are the basics difference between supply chain, centralized supply chain and decentralized supply chains. Going to the next one. Going to the next one, the centralized and decentralized supply chain, their coordination and aligning business activities. In that case, the decision-making supply chain network can be performed in a centralized or decentralized way. But the thing is that in a centralized structure, there exists a centralized authority responsible for decision-making, where a decentralized structure is individual entities, and they can their own decision. The point number 2, in practice, no supply chain can be completely centralized or decentralized. Both approaches have their advantages, as we have already discussed. Most common strategy decisions are usually made centrally, while operation decisions are decentralized. The last point, it is beneficial to adopt the centralized control and propose a mechanism to coordinate a decentralized system so that each player in the chain may be benefited. Going to the next slide. The next slide is that, so as far as concerned with the strictly cost perspective, the centralized and decentralized of all functions do not result in the lowest cost supply chain. In case of centralized structure, the transportation costs are typically going to be higher and customer service is going to be decreased. But in case of decentralized structure, the raw material and operation costs are typically going to be higher because redundancy, and in case of staffing as well, lower buying power among commodity. And these are the things which is already we have discussed. This is the last slide. In case of hybrid strategy, that is aligning the centralized as well as the decentralized, is the balance and combination of both centralized and decentralized within the organizations. This is known as hybrid strategy. And by centralized strategy functions such as sourcing and long-term capacities, and the decentralized operation functions such as order fulfillment and shipment handling, global supply chain can maximize customer requirement while lowering total supply chain cost as a percentage of sales. So clear? So that's all for today. Let's discuss with the questions arised by the students from your side. So before going to the question, this is a particular case study. You have to submit within a week. Try to understand. So this is a typical case study for Starbucks. I just read the particular case study. The Starbucks is pretty much a household name, but like many of the most successful worldwide brand, the coffee shop giant has been thought its period of supply chain pain. So in fact, during 2007 and 2008, the Starbucks leadership began to have some doubt about the company ability to supply its 16,700 outlets. As in most commercial sector at that time, the sales were falling. At the same time, through the supply chain costs rise by more than 75 millions. So you have to identify what are the supply chain cost reduction challenges in case of Starbucks. And the next point is that describe the path to cost reduction. That means what? What are the strategy to reduce the cost of supply chain in case of Starbucks? So that's all for today. If you have any question, you can ask frequently. Anyone?
Sir,
Single sourcing.
Which one?
Uh, Single sourcing.
Single sourcing.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. I'll just quickly go through. Okay, suppose you are a company. Just leave it the case of Sager and in case of Tata Steel. Suppose you are a company and you provide the transportations to a third party agency. So there are
क्लास खत्म हो गया क्या कोई?
नहीं सर, लेफ्ट हो गए शायद.
କଣ ଆକାଶ ଏମିତି କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରୁଛୁ ସାର୍ ବି
ସେ ଡାଉଟ୍ ଟା ତୋର ହିଁ ଥିଲା.
ମାନେ ତୁ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଥର ପଚାରିକି ମାନେ ଲିଭ୍ କରିଦେଲୁ ନା ତାର
ଭାଇ ମାନେ ଭଲ ଲାଗିଲା. ଭାଇ ରେକର୍ଡ ହଉଛି ଦେଖିକରି.
ମତେ କିଛି ଖରାପ ତ କହିନ ଭାଇ
ନା ଖରାପ କୁହନି ସେଥିପାଇଁ କୁହାହଉଛି ରେକର୍ଡ ହଉଛି ବୋଲି।
power failure is there. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Array, try to suggest your friend, do not leave, because your attendance is counted till the class is end. Okay. So those who are surfing on Google Meet, I'm just giving the particular little information to them. Okay. So any question related to today's class? Anyone? Gharnasam Jana, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So do you have any question?
Sir, I have asked about the single sourcing.
You have already asked about single sourcings. Suppose you are a
Yes, sir.
company. Yes. You're the owner of a company, and you have to shift a bulk amount of raw material from Bhubaneswar to a particular destination like Barampur. Yeah. And
Okay, sir.
myself is a transportation agency. I will provide all the transportation activities within 5,000, and someone needs to provide those transportation costs 3,000. So which one do you prefer?
The
Which
the
one you
lower one,
prefer?
sir.
Lower cost, exactly. The same thing happen in case of company. Whenever they provide a contract regarding transportation activities, they must go for the cost reductions. So those who are the bidder who provide the less quotation, they choose those companies. That is known as single sourcings. So out of many sourcing agencies, you have to choose the best one, which
So
have a lower.
sourcing means the one who will transport.
As far as concern is supply chain sourcing, we have to only concentrate on transportation. But in case of sourcing management, you have to choose the different aspect of sourcings. Clear. The first one is the purchase of raw material, the arrangement of machines, equipment, tools, those things. Clear. So in that case, you have to choose the best one. The same thing happen in case of transportation industry also. Clear. Smruti Ranjan Swai,
Yes, sir.
do you have any doubt?
No, sir. No, sir. Quite understandable.
Okay. Ashish Ranjan Swai.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can ask questions.
No, sir.
Okay,
Understood.
thank you. Okay, fine, thank you. Aishwarya Misra. Aishwarya Misra. Okay, next one is Rabina Das.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay, you
sir.
can ask.
Hello.
Yes. Do you have any doubt regarding today class?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Soumya Prakash Jana.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt regarding today class?
No, sir. I understood.
Okay. Sagarika Naidu.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Any doubt regarding today class?
Uh, सर
Yes, yes.
अभी के लिए तो ठीक है
Your
मतलब
voice is
एक
not.
बार रिवाइज करने के बाद
Your voice is not clear.
सर एक बार रिवाइज करने के बाद पूछ लो
एक बार. Hello.
हेलो
Okay, okay. I will just reverse this one. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can ask. Hello. Hello. Okay. Hello.
Sir, she said that after revise she will ask.
After I just repeat those slide again.
No, sir. She will
No,
repeat.
sir.
No,
She
sir.
will
She
revise
will
it
ask
sooner also. After that, she will ask.
next class.
So guys, try to listen. You have to submit this particular small case study on online mode. Clear. So try to in this particular supply chain management, I will access around 10 number of small case studies. Clear. So you have to submit that one, and each case study will be counted. Clear. In the next week, you have to submit. All of you submit this particular one. So I just reduce the number of assignment 10 to 5 number of assignment will be given, and each assignment will carry 2 marks. Clear. For assessment of your internal marks. Clear. That is why it is most important. So if you have any doubt related to this particular subject, you can ask frequently. I just repeat this particular case studies. Try to understand. The Starbucks is very much famous in case of coffee. Clear. But the Starbucks face so much difficulties in case of supply chains, because during the year 2007 and 8 they have to serve around 16,700 number of outlet. Clear. So apart from those things, just imagine how they manage all the things. Clear. Suppose there is an outlet in case of Bhubaneswar, or outlet in case of Delhi, or outlet in case of Mumbai, and all the ingredients in case of coffee makings, starting from the beans and the ingredients, the flavor, that should be directly imported from abroad. Okay. Only the cup, even if the cup also. Clear. So due to that thing, the Starbucks face so much difficulties, because in case of the foreign exchange policy, the foreign custom policies is different from country to countries. So due to that policies, the company face difficulties in case of supply chain management. So you have to provide the appropriate supply chain cost reduction challenges. You have to mention the different aspect or different strategy which are implemented for supply chain cost reduction in case of Starbucks. And the next part is that describe the path to reduction cost, describe the different path. As I told, in case of supply chain management, that the different paths should be include 4 number of entities. So as I told in the first class, whenever you can modify or customize the supply chain, complex supply chain management into a simple or smooth supply chain management, to directly involve these 4 entities. Clear. So what are the entities? As I told in the first class, that is product, facility, carrier, and the route. Clear. So you have to directly focus on these 4 things in case of describe the path to cost reduction. For example, in case of foreign exchange or custom charges in case of different companies, a different state, different country also. So due to foreign exchange rate, for example, in case of nationalized or international market, the government of India is implementing 80% your CGST tax or VAT in case of custom product or in case of custom goods. Clear? That should be included in case of whenever you serve that particular product to the customers. So these things should be how this thing should be reduced whenever you provide all kind of facility as well the product in front of customers. So these are the challenges. You have to write your own answer and you have to submit in the next week within 20th. Clear? So that's all for today. Clear?
Sir, one question.
Yes.
सर कहाँ सबमिट करना है मतलब मेल में क्या आपको
मेरे मेल में भेजो, मेरे ऑफिशियल मेल में भेजोगे, ठीक है?
ओके ओके सर।
ठीक है, तुम अपना जो भी आंसर है बस हेडिंग वही लिखोगे, केस स्टडी फॉर असाइनमेंट ब्रैकेट में स्टार वर्क, क्लियर, एंड दैट शुड बी डायरेक्टली सबमिटेड टू माय ऑफिशियल, दैट इज Manoj Raut, राइट डाउन, दैट इज manojraut@bitm.ac.in, क्लियर?
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
Okay, thank you all.
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.